In life's grand drama, he thought fleeing this troublesome place would bring excitement. Unexpectedly, returning after 8 years turned his life upside down. Nick soon arrived at the funeral. Friends and family gathered like at a party to mourn their childhood friend's passing, but Nick wandered outside alone like a lone wolf. To outsiders, he seemed a star, to kin and friends, just a fame-chasing clown. Just when Nick mustered the courage to step inside, their eyes met, as if saying, "Long time no see. Our relationship is like a roller." Nick was about to speak, but the child beside the woman made him change his mind. Her friendliness was like ice cream in winter. She turned and entered, thinking, "No worries, we'll meet again. I'll wait outside." Nick's unpopularity stemmed from his baffling act. He had left abruptly 8 years ago. 8 years ago, Nick and Ella's love burned hot, but when weighing dreams against love, he chose dreams over love without hesitation. On his wedding day, he ditched his bride Ella like a runaway soldier, racing off to the big city to chase his music dreams. A sudden plot twist hit Ella like a bolt from the blue, leaving her in disbelief that her wedding ended with the missing. After that, Ella eagerly sent Nick countless messages, but he vanished like a ghost, leaving her with zero replies. He even left his hometown behind, and now, with his sudden reappearance, Ella's emotions were on a roller coaster ride. As the funeral drew to a close, Ella saw Nick again, and all her pent-up emotions flooded out like a dam breaking. Subtitles, naturally. Nick made his way towards her, but while he was internally pondering over what to say, having nowhere else to turn, he ultimately had no choice but to temporarily settle back at his father's place. The next morning, after a brief hello, Nick's gaze was drawn to a faded old photo like a moth to a flame. It showed warm moments with his mom, flooding memories, and he turned to her beloved rose garden. Now, the garden looked like a forgotten corner, overgrown with weeds the blank tail left behind in his pursuit of dreams. Nick suddenly realized that the price of pursuing dreams was missing out on so much. He decided to take this chance to patch up the lost time. He called his agent at once, poured out his heart. Luckily, the agent didn't scold much. What a nice guy. With the past in the past, blaming more wouldn't help, so Nick asked his agent to send over his credit card and car. With everything settled, Nick hopped on his old bike and zipped through town, feeling an unprecedented sense of freedom. In this town, no one approached him for selfies or autographs, and he felt utterly relieved. What a delightful change. He stopped by a grocery store, found out where Ella worked, and with a sense of apology, he entered, ready for face-to-face. However, Ella's cold shoulder was palpable, but Nick, like an unkillable cockroach, wouldn't let it go. At that very moment, Ella's daughter suddenly burst in and greeted Nick with great enthusiasm. Although it was just an occasional interaction, Nick felt an indescribable sense of joy. His gaze on the girl brought a sense of familiarity, like meeting an old friend. Nick had been away from Ella for 8 years, and Ella's daughter was only 7. What a coincidence. Nick couldn't help but wonder, is there any relation between him and this little girl? So he quickly turned to Ella with questions. And as the truth surfaced, Ella opened up about the struggles and grievances of these years. After spilling her heart, tears sparkled in Ella's eyes, as if they could flood out at any moment. Nick felt deep guilt, yearning to make amends for past mistakes and heal her broken heart. Just then, Ella's brother suddenly appeared, scolding Nick like a strict principal addressing a student, and Ella sensed the seriousness of the situation, pushing Nick to leave. To avoid further complications, Nick darted out like a thief in the night, but his heart felt heavy with bitterness. After all this drama, Nick was a bundle of nerves, his mind set on a roller coaster ride, while Ella sensed things were getting out of hand. Ella hurriedly made an excuse to usher Nick away, avoiding impending conflict, while brave Nick wanted to prove his love for Ella. Once urged to leave, Nick rushed to his dad, demanding to know why he never told him about his daughter. Subtitles, but his father responded with a serious tone. "Son, you've always been very nice to your friends. However, what about your attitude towards Josie?" It seems that this remark cut Nick to the core. The reason he stayed away for years was to escape confronting his mistakes, But now back home, he could not turn back. He decided to take action to make things right, starting by stepping into a church, hoping for divine forgiveness. After the service, under the priest's guidance, old friends and familiar faces rushed to embrace Nick warmly. They showed understanding and acceptance, but Ella was dragged away. Nick's scars wouldn't heal fast. The next morning, Nick picked up his phone to listen to the messages Ella left him, a daily ritual for years. Then he opened the door and found a letter on the floor, a life-saving straw. His agent had left his credit card and cookies inside. The agent slipped away quietly, fearing to disturb him. Nick, getting the prized item, sped to Ella's flower shop. Inside the flower shop, he carefully picked some fresh flowers, took a deep breath, ready to express his wish to meet Ella's daughter. Ella's eyes flickered with hesitation, but she knew Nick's fortune burdened their daughter. She told Nick to ask her first. Then she told him to go home and wait for news. That afternoon, Ella tried to discuss Dad with her daughter, who quickly grasped her mother's hidden meaning. Her daughter sensed something unusual in her mother's tone and felt a bit nervous in her gut. Ella was momentarily at a loss for words, but to avoid her daughter resenting her father, she gently said, "So let's just leave it at that." Nick secured a dinner chance with them, longing for a bond with his daughter, but at a loss for words. Subtitles: if you really like this story, make sure not to forget to give it a like and subscribe.